Of note here, Fresno State head coach Jeff Tedford stepping away due to health concerns. The linebacker coach Tim Skipper will serve as interim. Fresno, couple portal guys here. Linebacker Tanner Blunt, they're not really important. Christian Gordon, their safety, at about 300 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
And
where's Logan Fife going to go? Where's Logan
Fife hit the portal. So, but Mikey Keene should be good enough to go. But that is worth noting if he goes down with an injury. He's been dealing with injuries all year. Diego looks like he will play. He injured his elbow in the Conference USA title. Reports are that he is expected to play. It's also worth mentioning that New Mexico State will be playing in New Mexico. So I'm assuming that they're going to have a home crowd edge, and this game's probably important to them. A team that is on the rise and not so sure. I guess New Mexico State, I should mention, they have a cornerback, Reggie Akels, 400 snaps. He hit the portal. Wide receiver, Trent Hudson, he had 10 touchdowns this year. He hit the portal. Fresno State also, they lost their left tackle for the season a couple games ago. One of their better defensive tackles also been dealing with an injury. Only played 4 snaps over the final 2 games. Other than that, it looks like these two teams should be close to full health. I am not sure that Fresno State really gives a shit about this game, to be honest. They were in the thick of the Mountain West race. They like controlled their own destiny at one point. I thought they were a fraud anyway. I faded them a bunch down the stretch. They won some lucky games. But now you go from potentially, you were in the Mountain West, the thick of it. Like you're thinking, let's win the Mountain West, New Year's Six Bowl. Like now you're going to play the Idletta Bowl in Albuquerque against New Mexico State.
As a road team. Yeah.
As a road team without your coach. And Jerry Kill is going to have this New Mexico State team fired up. And, how many wins would they get to if they win this game?
I know Auburn's on 6.
New Mexico State, would they win? I always forget because they played an extra game. New Mexico State would get to 11 wins. Like that's huge for this program. So I think they'll show up here. The problem is I can't get there with my number. Now, granted, I'm always lower on New Mexico State. I can't lay 3.5 in this game. The Mexico State D is bad. So Fresno should be able to score. I think the Fresno State D doesn't do much for me. That they don't really care. New Mexico State's going to move up and down the field. This could end up being a fun shootout. I know we've talked about nothing but unders so far. This would be an over that I would look at on Saturday. For my bold pools, I'm picking New Mexico State to win. I just can't lay over 3.5 because I'm so far off with my actual number. What do you see here?
This is a New Mexico State play all the way. I think you're taking it to 6. And I don't think it's done moving. As you and I are here podcasting at 3.5, I think it's gonna blow through the neutral numbers here. I mean, look at our situation, right? We have a Fresno State team with an assistant head coach, linebacker coach, Tim Skipper, going to serve as the acting head coach for this bowl. They limped into this bowl, lost 3 straight, 2 of them to non-bowl teams in New Mexico and San Diego State. I mean, there's losses and then there's New Mexico loss and San Diego State loss, I mean, it's pretty bad getting into this bowl game. And you mentioned they have no depth behind Mikey Keene, who's hurt all the time. And when you look at some other things, Fresno has no success running the ball. Malik Sherrod, he's decent numbers, 9 TDs, 31 missed tackles created, 3.6 yards after contact. But the Bulldogs are 112th in rushing success rate, and they're 105th in stuff. It's just not going to work against this New Mexico State defense. Mikey Keene finished the season with 20 TDs and 9 INTs. His ADOT, I don't know if he's still hurt. His average depth of target was less than 6 yards, average less than 6 yards the final 3 games. Then you look at what he's going to throw against. He excels against cover 3, but he's going to get cover 1 against New Mexico State. He doesn't have any juice on here. Slot Eric Brooks averages more than 2 yards per route run. So New Mexico can give up the big play, but is Mikey Keene going to be able to hit that? So I think the total is completely spot on. I make it 52, but there's just no answer that Fresno defense has for the Pavia power rush concepts. They use power, which is they'll take they'll overload one side of the offensive lineman with tight ends. They'll use a guard from the weak side, and they will just put Pavia right there behind it and plow over people. And Fresno State has no way to stop that in a home game in Albuquerque. And why I say this is a big deal to them, it might be bigger than people think, unless you're a part of the Aggies program. Last year, New Mexico State desperately wanted to be in this game. Desperately wanted to be in this game. They put Jerry Kill up in the Quick Lane Bowl in Detroit. Now, a few fans traveled. They won the game. They were elated. It was Jerry Kill's first ever win in a bowl. Even made comments after, I still want to be back in Albuquerque in the New Mexico Bowl. Well, guess what? Now you're in Albuquerque in the New Mexico Bowl. I think I'm not going to tell anybody to take Fresno. I would just say stop buying at 6 because I think it's a New Mexico State party.